What's up, guys? Hope y'all are doing well. So we'll start with Bitcoin and what we marked out last week. These were the same boxes I had marked out. And what I talked about was that this could be, if this was some kind of like a leading diagonal, and then this was a flat, then we could see a rise like that. We were right here on the stream last Wednesday. We were right around here. Yeah, we were right around here. If you look at the time here, 10:30, 11 or so. And I was saying that this could definitely be forming some kind of leading diag like this, where you would see something like this. Just went a little bit higher, and this didn't come as low. But ultimately got the move, and it went right up into the other spot. What was that other spot? Oh, and just a reminder for this area as well, it was the 0AB, this being an expanded flat and this being expanded flat targets. So that's what that was. And then if this leading diag was a corrective leading diag, then we can use these corrective 3-pole fibs, this 114. So we got that. We also got, is it this 3-4? Yeah. That 3-4 from there to there. And this kickback holding here. So we had that as well. And then on the lower time frame, we had something in here. So 3236 of this investment here, this momentum. I don't think I discussed that though, probably because we didn't have this move up at the time, but something like that. You have the one of that right there too. I mean, you could have been using any of these, right? But so you had investments from several different time frames. You had this leading diag investment that could look for a take profit there. You had the investment since this came down here, and that 3-4. You had that wanting to take profit there, and then you had this investment from this move down here, from the flat, wanting to take profit there. So lots of reasons for it to get that kind of reaction there. And now, yeah, we just have to see if that holds. The other thing I believe we had here is a corrective pull from the first move down to the from the first low to the first high. Yeah, the 114. That, I mean, look at that. It's pretty perfect right there. So there was a lot of confluence on that region, and yeah, it was all discussed last time. So what can we do now? Well, this area would still look good, and we know that it's a good pull because it got respect. So if it does want to make it, up one more time, we can look for that area. And now that does not fit. Again, that does not really fit with these areas, but this one does. So we just mark this out as well. That. Looks good. Probably pull that down. Why not? Let's get that leading diag back up. It's good to us once. Yeah, you got the 0.5 in there, and then here you have these levels here. But this looks, yeah, that looks a little juicier if it wants to keep going up. I mean, this is definitely a level to watch. This is a zone to watch. This zone just feels juicier because it has the scalp targets as well from a pull that's respected. We already know it's respected here, and yeah, I'd still probably say I trust scalp more than anything. So that looks good. But again, it could. This isn't bad either. So that is if it wants to keep going up. Look for those areas. And it's kind of perfect when it does something like this here, where it gets up to that area, but not quite. But then every time it gets kind of close, it gets wicked down a bit. And then you get one final push that actually gets into it. Then you can feel better about that. Because yeah, I wouldn't have trusted any of this front running, because I have faith. I got faith in the fibs, you know. So just watch for it getting respect, you know, something that looks obvious, something, no reason to knife catch if it goes like straight up into it. I would just wait, see if something a little more obvious forms, and it doesn't have to look like that. You could get like an ending diag situation like that, which it kind of is like that on a lower time frame, I suppose. And then maybe you get something obvious like that. That feels more like a swing trade opportunity, whereas catching the exact fib is more of a scalp opportunity. Of course, you have an opportunity potentially of just like an OTE setup in here. If it just wanted to come up here and then come down. Let's go to a daily again. And go back to this higher time frame pull. So you can see it also cut into the kickback of this, which is, we already know is a respected pull because of here, and here, and here, and now here. So coming up higher still would be respecting the kickback of this, even if it wanted to come into here. Now if it went into the higher one that I said I liked more, that would be a little disrespect. Unless it did something like this, where it just wicked kind of quickly. Just like a quick wick and then back down. I'd be alright with that. I'd say since I'm looking at a daily chart for this pull, that I would want to see that wick on the daily. Meaning I don't think I'd want to see like multiple body closes on a daily like that. I wouldn't really want to see that. Preferred. But if it comes into that zone and closes under here on a daily, that feels pretty solid to me. Good, You got a good retrace up to the highest end of the kickback, and then potentially come into these deeper targets. Or it's already done, which it definitely could be. So I'd say the first opportunity would be looking for an OTE kind of thing here. There isn't any market structure broke on a daily or on a 4-hour yet. So maybe if it starts to take some of these and then comes back up, it's a possibility. There isn't anything here that I would be looking to long yet, because it hasn't come to this 3-4. It's getting respect from this kickback. It's good to see. So if it's respecting that, you could potentially expect respect from these levels as well. So that could be a potential long up into here, and then that would be like maybe an OTE to come for deeper levels, or the higher time frame deeper levels. That could potentially be another short, and this could potentially be a long. Yeah, these would be more than $1,000 moves, so it's not bad. I'd want something else to align with the 3-4 though. From an SMC standpoint, it would just be taking this whole block of lows, and then you would just want to see it tap that 3-4 and come back up, look strong. Then again, I probably, if I was taking, if I got that setup off this 3-4, then I would probably be taking heavy, almost everything, almost full TPs here. I would probably be taking almost full take profits here. Maybe just leave a little bit for a move up here potentially, because this could easily just, you know, do something like that. There'd be a reason for it, or it could come up here. So it could do that, or it could do this. So I'd play it safe. That no longer valid since we made another high. Don't need that anymore. And we don't really need that anymore since it's already been tapped. I would say since this is the higher time frame pull and this is a lower time frame pull, that I would put more focus on the reaction, since we are reacting from the higher time frame pull. And we already, we tapped this, we back tested the 178 as support already. So I probably wouldn't be as inclined to be interested in these levels. Even if this, even if the 3-4 is respected, if we got something like this, sure, it could potentially be a scalp area and it would be a respected pull, but what's kind of going against you in this situation is the higher time frame pull. And if it's getting a reaction from the kickback from the higher time frame pull, then it could already be ready to come down to these lower levels. Of course, it could just keep ranging. Another tickle of the 178 and do this. It could definitely do something like that. So you just have to kind of see what happens here. If it gives you an obvious, potentially obvious setup with, like a nice little ending diag, breaking some market structure, building up potentially a 5-wave where you get a nice 1-2, then yeah, that would definitely be a setup to take it up potentially up here. But if you're not seeing something like that, Whether it gets respect from the 3-4 or not, I would say, but let's assume it does. If it nukes straight through here, like that, like a really aggressive move down, like one of these, then I would just wait on it to be doing something like this. You wouldn't need to catch that right away, because yeah, like I said, it could easily be the move that comes all the way down here. I mean, this works too, but it's very similar. Looks like it's getting respected, etc. Could if this ends up being the one more in play, then the 3-4 is right on that set of lows. So you could see that as like, you know, SMC play, take these lows, wick through the 3-4, come right back up, come into kickback again, come back down here. The 3-4 has only been tapped once, so it definitely could just come into the 3-4 again, come up here, and then that could even be the end of the move as well. And then we could see potentially that could be the move that creates, like, maybe there's some divergence or something, but that could be the move where Coinbase ends up taking the low here into this area. It could go up, or it could just be something like that, and then that could go up, or it can keep going lower. This whole volume gap area is still very juicy, potentially, for a much higher time frame. But yeah, I mean, price has been kept up here. Nothing looks terribly impulsive or bearish for a huge strong move down yet on a weekly chart. Just inverting it, sometimes it helps see some things. You could have this momentum pull here, or this would be a little more symmetric. If this was, well, it would be the high, but since it's flipped, if that high was the high we just made after the move down, if that was the last high before a bigger move down, this feels better though, because the targets are right in that really juicy zone here that wasn't able to get filled. This really juicy volume gap zone. All this no volume area. And I would say if price keeps looking the way it is, which, you know, just kind of like lots of consolidating and yada yada. If there was a very aggressive move out of nowhere down here, I'd say that's a long all day any day for potentially another move up. And that would be for anyone that, you know, missed this move. And I think the only way that would happen like this to be bullish would be if it was a very aggressive move. But I think if it was a slow grind down, I don't know. It just feels, that would just feel too easy. Like, maybe that volume gap would be used as a way to accumulate more shorts. Like, price comes down here, comes up, accumulates shorts up in this volume gap area, and then another move down. So I would be a little weary of that if it came down there in a way that wasn't a scary, aggressive way. But if that did happen, I think it's a good opportunity to finally come up and take this high and come into some of our other targets we've been talking about for months. If this high gets taken here already, just like this, then this pull wouldn't be valid anymore. We'd look at something else. And again, on a higher time frame, I really like this scalp pull here. Holding kickback as support, and then coming up to this 3-4. And then you could also look at all of this as a range. And a reaccumulation. So you could do a 3 pull from the high of it to the low of it. Oops, other way around, from the low of it to the high of it. And somewhere around the middle. Wherever the, if it did this, it would be wherever the EQ of the value area would end up being right now. I would say more or less right around here. But it's too early. We haven't done that move. It's just speculative. If I brought it down to POC, yeah, I mean, it doesn't, the way it stands right now, it doesn't give confluence necessarily. We just have to see if maybe it does. If that were to happen, if it would give confluence with the scalp pull, wherever that EQ of the value area would end up being. And that would just be like a, this 3 pull based on an accumulation here. Hopefully it could have confluence, but it's not looking great for confluence right now at the moment. So maybe that means it's not going to happen. I mean, if it did something like this, you could just say that this looks like a nice area. Coming up through the 832 all the way to the 1, I mean, that's a huge move, so yeah. And like, how would you get in for that move? Yeah, you would just be looking for the lower time frame setups whenever you're at the lows of a range, and keep some of it for a bigger move, keep some of it for a potential swing. So, enough of Bitcoin. Dang, that was a whole 30 minutes on Bitcoin. Let's look at NASDAQ. And I'm just gonna, we can look at the days so far. 30-minute chart. I was talking about this. I was talking about this pull when the morning started, because I woke up right around here, around like 7:30 or so. Right before New York starts. So I wake up, the low happened overnight, that's fine. So I go to look for a pull that makes the most sense for the day. And so this is 9:30, that's the New York open candle. And I'm not taking any trades yet, but I'm just seeing what would be a pull where I would see some kind of respect of a mix of kickback 178 and 34. Since this had the perfect reaction from the 178 already, you could have used that as some confluence for that pull. Again, this would be using line chart like that. So you see respect for the 178, and then you could potentially be looking at that 3-4. And then if you do a lower time frame pull like that, you have some levels here, and some levels here. So some different time frames of scalp pulls would have also worked for getting you level on the shorting the 3-4 there. And then a lot of us were waiting for it to potentially come down here for other reasons, but for me it was this kickback here, and because we got a reaction from the 3-4, would have potentially been looking at this kickback as a nice lower risk area to get back in for longs to go up. Didn't happen. We didn't come that low, fortunately, but that's fine. It happens. And yeah, price just ended up holding around here, and then finally getting a reaction now at this 706. Let's go to lower time frames. This was really tricky, because there were a lot of reasons for it to have potentially come down. This could have been a flat. Giving targets around here, which would have had confluence with what we were using, something like that. Would have had confluence here, but it didn't happen. It's just stuff, prepare for it just in case it does happen. You can get a good trade off of it. If it doesn't happen, you have to look for something else. I think this would have been tricky if you were kind of counting on an expanding flat, but this kind of tricky here. Let me pull this back. Yeah. But I was looking at this as a wonky diag. I can pull targets like that, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Again, it's wonky, but that's how I was kind of looking at it, because if it was going to be impulsive, well, that's really all. That's the only way I could have looked at this move. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then doing the 0, 5 to 2 like that. And if I hide that for a second, you can see nice respect here for that first area, and then basically since that area was getting respected, we can potentially look at the second area, and then that matches up with the scalp pull we had of the 1. Right around up here. I mean, it would probably end up being a more bullish move and taking this stuff coming up into this area, because we didn't take this low. It's basically a double bottom, but it missed it by a bit. Because we didn't take that low, then I think what I've been saying about this ending diag here is potentially still in play. Looking up to these targets here, and if that's the case, then I guess I was kind of seeing this as a leading diag like that. Come on. And it it retraced pretty deep, but it would still be valid. I think more valid as a corrective one. Like a B, C, and then there's confluence with the ending diag targets here. in that zone. So I think that's still in play. I mean, it is for me as long as that low doesn't get taken. And then it's a little wonky as well. This could potentially be ending diag too. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you can see we're in that first target area of that. Second target area would be up here. I would count that as respect. So since this area is getting respected, I would also mark this area. But at this point, you're still kind of, I'd be careful, because on a higher time frame, I would have these targets looking like the best targets for the higher time frame. But you could see something where you take this set of highs here up into this target zone, take that set of highs, and this one too. And some kind of and then you get some kind of retrace, however low, it doesn't, whatever. And you get your bigger move up after that. Or that could just happen right from here. Do a higher time frame scalp pulls here, or from New York Open yesterday. It's kind of nice. The 3236 of this ending diag pull that's getting respected is right on the 3-4. So that's kind of nice. And maybe price will hint to us at some point that this is a good pull by giving us some more obvious respect of this kickback. Like if at some point, whether it's right now or later on, so it could happen later, or again, like it could happen from here, and then it respects kickback, comes up here, that gives a little retrace, something like that, or it does it right now and it's respecting this kickback either here or down here, then we know this is a good pull, and it lines up with another respected pull as well. Too early to speculate on this. Not enough information to see if anything's being respected. So I think for now we would just stick with these and our zones we marked here, and I think it's too early to like trade off this kickback. You could maybe count that as respect, but I wouldn't until there's another something else showing me it. Like, you could say this and this, but I think I'd prefer to see something like this. Something where like a 178 and then kick back, and then I'd be like, okay, this is a good pull. And then we can look for this 3-4 or higher. what could we look for pullbacks right now? I think it's going to be really tricky. So if we come down here, since we're doing all this ranging on this time frame, I prefer to be using some kind of 3 pull. Nothing's really standing out, but I mean, if we came down right now, you'd have targets lining up here at least on this, but I have a feeling, even if it does come down, I have a feeling it won't look like that. That won't be the best pull anymore. That something else will happen. If we do a scalp here, you know, you have targets, but it's ranging so much above it already. That wouldn't be my first choice. Probably wouldn't be my first choice. Yeah, I mean, I'd probably prefer something around here, but that doesn't really scream out to me either. And that it's just way too early to speculate on something like this. My bias would probably be up, and then just using a local pull like this that has confluence. We already saw that this has confluence, you know, all in there. This could play, but it would be, you know, you'd be taking on more risk. At least you have something on a higher time frame here to potentially back you up. That this, if this bigger kickback is in play, you'd have that. So this seems low, like lowest risk if we're looking for longs. If you think we're going higher. But like it's just ranging, so bottom of range could also just be the next low before it goes up again. Equal lows here, might want to take those out first. This high did not take this high, so you don't have a market structure change here yet. So probably be more careful, more conservative. And then since price has been like really kind of like fuckery, I guess, it could go deeper than you think too, and come all the way back down here. I mean, that's what it was doing all morning. It's like a big range, so like it could come all the way back down there and then do the move up. Again, I don't really like this pull right now, but you just have to see as like if a move down started to happen, you'd have to see something like, oh, is this 3-4 being respected, and then the kickback's being respected, and then it comes down again. That's a situation where you'd be like, okay, respected pull, I like it. I have more confidence for something like this. Because at this moment, like, I'm not gonna have this pull on my chart. It's just not enough to give me a reason for it. It's just what I would be doing if I saw a move down right now. what I would be looking at. So from a higher time frame perspective, you know, could be a 1-2-1-2 if we're really, if you know, for a very bearish case. 1-2-1-2 3. I mean, the 3 would be pretty big if that's the case, and would probably want to have a crack at all these lows and come deeper if it's a 1-2-1-2 coming down. But that's just one possibility. It doesn't have to be that bearish either. We took the set of equal lows here, so that achieved something from an SMC perspective. Using a corrective pull on this and see reactions. You can see, you know, the 114. So if this was just corrective, and it's not going to be a 1-2-1-2 impulse down, and that was just, you know, this was just like a zigzag. I still think it'd want to come a little deeper, but doesn't have to, I suppose. Yeah, just be a 5-3-5, and it would be done. It did achieve a lot. If we do some scalp pulls here, came into the golden pocket area of this pull. And if we try to find one that's getting the most respect, I'm just kind of looking like here, 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 here. Yeah, I guess it just missed it if I do it like that, but I mean anything in this area would work. And it hit the golden pocket area. Obviously there's deeper targets, but they don't have to hit. And then if you do one like that, the 3-4 here. So those targets we were marking out up here also align with the kickback of this bull. And then you would just be watching out for a potentially, if it did reject hard, then you could be thinking that maybe this is going to be a much bigger move down, like I said. Or let me get everything back on here. And the corrective pull. It's gonna look crowded, but or if this was a 3-wave and this is a 3-wave and this is a 3-wave and then this is a 3-wave up, we could be like a WXYXZ, and then we'd be looking for some of the other corrective targets here, and we'd be looking for the ones that are you know, getting the most confluence. So this one, like with this corrective pull, the 114, the 832 of this scalp pull does not align with anything on that corrective pull, and I would want them to align. Now this one actually gets into the 832, it kind of misses the -1, and then it also misses, if this is going to be a respected pull for this 3-4, and whether it comes up to kick back or not, if it comes down again, it's a respected pull. So that 706 lines up with a 3-4 of this corrective pull. I'd probably mark that out. Which would go past the -1 of this a bit, but that's fine because it would meet this time frame's goals, but it would also, it's got other time frames goals and targets it also has to meet. I mean, like up in here with a 6181 and then this like 272 kind of this just feels a little bit better. And then of course it can come all the way down to hit all of these as well. It can do it can come down here. Of course it can come all the way down here as well. But just kind of marking out the areas that would make the most sense. So I would say I would prefer this one first. Like this one I'd feel a little better about. And then I would also, if price if it was just kind of like coming straight through it, not really respecting it, then I'd be looking in this area as well for potential turnaround, bias shift, all that. Those are the corrective ideas. Again, if it's impulsive, that area aligned with the corrective targets as well. I mentioned that last week, so that would be a really juicy area, even if it's just for a short-term pullback. You could also do it like this, where you don't really have a whole lot of confluence doing it like that. And it's too early to say. So this would just be like higher time frame speculation. You can look at some stuff on even higher time frame like this. It's kind of like pulling it to where I see some respect here, and it would be like using this there, came into that golden pocket, kickback is way down here. So there's reasons, even on this NQZ chart that doesn't have any of this data, there's reasons for pullbacks, and even if the market wants to be bullish again, if all these guys are taking profits, then they might look for these lower areas as the areas to get back in on, and probably not getting back in right here at the top. So yeah, good stuff. ES1, let's look on a daily. These were levels I marked out last stream, last Wednesday. So we had this scalp pull here. Again, like looking for something that's getting respected like that, and using this momentum here. So that -1 was right in here, the 832 was right in here. I marked out these two zones. I had also marked a box around this whole area, but then as there were more confluences that came by, I could just delete that and then focus on the tighter zones. Scalpel from here to here. Hide the other one. So it's just kind of moving it around, same kind of thing, seeing like it's the general area, but if I move it up a little bit like that and I'm seeing like a lot of respect here perfectly, then that, I like that. And then you know, it reacts perfectly with the 706. That was also in the -1 of the other pull. So yeah, these zones, you know, last Wednesday we were around here, and that was kind of going off a similar idea for the NASDAQ, thinking that this was an ending diag. I did mention that this was looking a little more impulsive though, and so it doesn't surprise me that this didn't end up being the low because of how deep this came. And you can see if we just do a pull like that. Let's go to lowers. Be using that one, something like that. Respect a 3-4, respecting the 618, and then kick back testing the 3-4, ultimately fails, goes lower. Can get rid of these now. And I mean, we'll just get rid of these since we don't really need them. But yeah, those are the same levels I marked last week, so you can go and check. Ended up being really nice. And we're coming up to an hour, so we'll be ending this soon. I would say like the higher time frame stuff, it's just, I mean, I went over a lot of it last week, and I just kind of went over it on NASDAQ, so it'd be pretty similar. But also on ES1, we took these equal lows. So Scuba had been talking about that for a while. I think Larry probably talked about it too. I've been talking about it. Finally happened. So I think it satisfied a lot of things from multiple different you know, analysis methods and methodologies. So I'd say it's good enough for a move up. Obviously there's lower targets, but it's satisfied enough for potentially going up. Maybe diagi, potentially. It's not there yet. Nice scalp pull here, 3-4 down to kickback. Oh, so ES did what NQ did not do. That's interesting. Yeah, because we were wanting that kickback on NASDAQ, but I guess ES did it. That's nice. That would have made things a bit easier. You know, 3-4 respect, kickback up to just shy of the 706. Or if you do it the less greedy pull, then it taps there. So if this ends up being a higher time frame move, yeah, it's just going to be the same thing. You know, same thing we did on NASDAQ, using pulls, seeing what's getting respected, and then looking for potential pullbacks into kickback with lower time frame moves as confluence, like you know, looking for setups like that. If it goes down here, then got our lower targets. mean, on a daily, it looks like it looks pretty diagonal on a daily. If this was a 1, 2, 3, and then 4, and then there'd be a 5. So this pull being respected here gives a zone here, and that doesn't help us here. But you can see if we do a similar thing where we're looking for respect here, 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 even though it did this, I know, but it is what it is. Gold, I've seen gold do that before. I guess it can happen every once in a while where it looks like it's getting disrespected, but then ultimately continues. But still, like, it was respected so many times. And you know, you can see it came down to the 1, but now that's done. Nothing else here looks like really that obvious. I mean, I suppose you could say like respect, not really up here though, and that would just be like, you know, I mean, I would just have to pull it up so you can see it's respected. And then this area kind of gets into that area, maybe going a little lower. Like if it went down here again and it did like that, but then it went a little lower to tap into this. But I would only be using this if we start coming down again. That's if we don't, well, I would say I'd have this area marked. Yeah, but leave it at that. Kind of feel like we're due for a move up. Boom. Confluence area for this, that scalp pull, and then I mean, if you wanted to say this is like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 ending diag, kind of wonky, but be a way to, you know, even if you don't want to actually call it ending diag, it would still, the pull would still be a valid way to give you an idea of the investment made on the way down here, and then it gives more confluence in this general area up here. kind of filling up this whole 4-hour FVG here. Maybe there's some bad longs here that can get out of position. All that good stuff up here if we had to move up like that. Good. It's an hour or over an hour, so I'm gonna call it, and I will see you guys later. Let me know if you have any questions. I'll be in boardroom. I'll be in chat. So see you guys later. Hope you have a good week. Bye.